Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of So I Played This Game. I'm Emilio, your host today, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Callum.
Hey everybody. If you haven't watched So I Played This Game before, then here's just a basic rundown of the rules. Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to tell someone about a game you played, and you can't remember its name for the life of you, so you're just throwing out random details about it? That's this game. Emilio and I both have picked a game, and we're going to take turns explaining it to each other without revealing the name, and maybe by obscuring some details a bit more. If the other side can guess which game we're talking about, then they get some points, and if they can't, they can't. The winner at the end of the game is the one with the most points, and the only other rule is that we get to ask each other 5 questions.
Yeah, I won the game technically because I last time because I got the closest with my guess. I at least guessed in the same sort of vaguely similar genre.
Yeah. If it ends up a tie, we'll see. We'll start going into things like who got the closest and stuff.
Yeah. This is not a strictly competitive game. We are just trying to recreate those fun moments when people are desperately searching for the name of a video game, but they don't have their phone on them, so they can't just Google it.
Yeah, and stay tuned for the end when the winner gets to describe a video game to you guys that you need to answer in the comments, which we'll read out next week.
Yeah, and actually, we
Amelia.
should probably do that.
Yeah.
So last time we were talking, I think we had mentioned, we gave a description of the kind of game that it was actually that I was describing, and I think viewers at home, if you were playing the game, the correct answer to that was Yahtzee Crowshaw's The Art of Theft.
Did anyone get it in the comments?
No one did.
Oh well, next time we'll try and pick a less obscure game. But you know what? Play along at home or don't. Just enjoy and watch. And yeah, should we get started?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Round one. Fight!
Emilio.
Yes.
So I played this game recently.
Ooh, okay.
Where you're a narcoleptic.
Okay, narcoleptic.
Yeah. And a bug wakes you up. So that you can go and sort of explore for a bit. You know, just sort of see what you want from life. What do you want to do? Then unfortunately, a fascist who's king of a matriarchy.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I never said it made sense, Emilio. I said it's in
Okay.
a game. So a fascist who's king of a matriarchy, just totally destroys you, just like ruins your life. And so you have to combat him by becoming a twink.
Okay, that's quite a description. Is that all?
I guess the only other thing is that the guy's also a band kid.
And okay, well that's an interesting description. You definitely play some very unusual games. Okay, let's see. I have my 5 questions.
Yeah, you have 5 questions now. You can ask about anything except for the game title.
Question 1. What is the type of gameplay? You know,
It's a strange mix between puzzles and like combat.
Puzzles and combat. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's the core gameplay loop?
The core gameplay loop is basically open world, completing various challenges, sometimes in order.
Okay, so we've got an open world game that's a hybrid with some puzzle elements and some combat elements. Okay. Describe the setting to me. Is this science fiction or fantasy or...
I would say, there's a case to be made for post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic. Interesting.
but it's probably closer to fantasy.
Probably cool.
Which isn't... Those two things aren't...
Well, I mean,
mutually
there is
exclusive.
such a thing as post-apocalyptic fantasy.
I mean, yeah, that's the Wheel of Time and the Shannara Chronicles.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's nothing inherent to a fantasy story that's like impossible that there could be an apocalypse. I think there was an apocalypse event in like Lord of the Rings, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but if I recall correctly, the Shannara Chronicles has trolls, which are just basically mutants from nuclear fallout.
I've read a book series, I think called like The Broken Empire, where like the trolls are like mutants because of radiation. But yeah, let's see.
That might be a part of the Shannara Chronicles.
Oh, it could be. Let's see. My third question. Is this part of a series, or is this just a once-off game?
Oh, yeah, no, this is a... Well, that's the thing. It's not like a direct sequel to anything, but it is a part of an ongoing series. There are other parts of the series that are direct sequels, and so on and so forth, but most of the time it's like an anthology sort of situation.
Can you clarify that? What do you mean? So it's just like... Okay,
No.
You can't clarify it. Okay, fair enough.
I genuinely can't. Even if we were talking about the game and you knew what it was, I wouldn't be able to clarify.
Okay, that was my...
it.
I think I've used, 4 questions?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
your fourth. So, yeah, we're playing Genie
Yeah,
rules.
okay.
I wish I knew what to wish for.
Can you at least tell me the publisher or the developer?
I don't know who the publisher is, but I believe the developer is Nintendo.
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 Oh lord, I don't know enough about Nintendo games.
Nor should you.
Nor should I, yeah. Okay. It's a hybrid. I'm gonna... How many... Did we say that we get guesses? I think we did.
I think you get
I get 3
guesses.
Okay.
And look, the thing is, if you guess the series, that's gonna contribute to like whether or not you got the closest or whatever. But I'm looking for the specific game in the series.
Okay. Okay. My first guess is... This is gonna sound weird. I think this is a Pokemon game.
You'd think so, right? But no.
No.
Also, Pokemon isn't developed by Nintendo. It's developed by Game Freak.
No! All my credits as a
believe.
gamer have been... Oh, there you go, guys. I'm a fake gamer.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong about this, but I think Pokemon's published by Nintendo.
Interesting. Okay, well... Narcoleptic Bug. Is it Hollow Knight?
That's not made by Nintendo.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. But I guess I'm thinking about it because it's on the Switch. You don't have a
yeah.
Switch, do you?
I can. No, I don't have a Switch. I wish I did, but I can inform you that I don't believe this game is on the Switch.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that too.
Well, you never know. It's always...
I don't really keep up with the Switch because like it's like I don't know, a house. I don't think I'm ever gonna own it.
Ooh.
You know?
That one hurts, but very true.
Yeah.
Then again, when the Pro Switch comes out, then maybe...
Maybe it'll drop in price from astronomical to noteworthy.
Okay.
Anyway,
My
your
final
final
guess.
guess.
I think this could be a Legend of Zelda game.
You've got the series.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have an inkling about the actual game, but I mean, I'm out of guesses.
You know what? In the spirit of camaraderie and with the hope that you will give me the same favor in the future, I'm willing to give you one further guess for getting the
Okay.
series right.
Is this what's the one? Wind Waker?
Wow, you wasted that.
Damn
one.
it!
No, it's Ocarina of Time. The most famous Zelda game ever.
I've played the first Zelda game, and a little bit of Breath of the Wild. and
I played a bit of Breath of the Wild too.
That's
fun.
all. That's all of my Zelda playing experience. I've always found it interesting, but the fact that it's sort of specifically tied to Nintendo, and I've never really had a Nintendo console, has kind of prevented me from playing it.
One of the first 7th generation console I had was a Wii, and my brother-in-law actually gave me his Wii.
Okay.
Yeah, that sentence sounds weird, doesn't it? He gave me his Nintendo licensed console and his copy of Twilight Princess.
Oh, okay. That's curious.
Yeah, and that was one of the first games I ever had, and like that I owned, that no one bought for me or whatever. And yeah, it was great. I didn't get very far. I got to the Water Temple and then I just gave up.
Well, the thing about Nintendo games is that a lot of them have benefited from the fact that when they came out, they were like very niche. So if you really wanted to play a game like that, you were kind of stuck with Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
So-
definitely. Like I can't even emulate Twilight Princess because Wii emulation.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
weird.
So like, if you're kind of like Nintendo's like, hey, you're going to take it, you're going to like this game in the way that we want you to play it, and if you don't like that, well, then you can take a hike.
yeah.
But yeah, so Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I guess that's the one that's like on everyone's like major list. I've always thought the idea of Twilight Princess was cool because it was the cool, edgy one.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's definitely an edgy one, but I think the cool edgy one is Majora's
I was
Mask.
just about to say that, but that's the trick that they play on you because the actual edgy Zelda game is Majora's Mask. Because
Yes, because it's all about nihilism.
yeah, because like Twilight Princess is like a young teen who's discovered deviant art, like OCs for the first time, and they just make like a character who's like, oh, he's a cool like wolf guy, but
He can turn into a wolf.
he's awesome, he's radical, everything's dark and edgy, but Majora's Mask is like, oh yeah, nihilism, suffering, the existential death of the universe, all of that just like hangs in the world. That's the actual edgy one, in my opinion.
Yeah, nothing you do matters because in 3 days the world will end and it will restart.
It's a great metaphor for life.
You were trapped in a Kafkaesque loop.
Oh man, yeah. If we could resurrect the corpse of Franz Kafka, it's like one of the best embodiments of your ideology is a Japanese video game, and that.
Is it Kafka or is it Kant?
No. Well, Franz Kafka is about absurdism. About this sort of. His stories are always about telling about like these weird, almost larger than life scenarios.
Oh wait, he's the writer.
Yeah. Kant was the philosopher, and he was like deontological, categorical imperatives. You've got to do things because you have to do them. Sort of. It's moral moral absolutism, I think. It is. I'm not a philosopher,
Okay.
But Franz Kafka was the guy who was like, oh, what if you were a bug? What if you were such a wretched human being?
What if
That
bug?
you turned into a bug, yeah. Okay, so...
Well, I think you also say Kafkaesque because he had a story where this guy was like trapped in a bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Like he kept trying to look for who was running the place and he couldn't find it because they don't exist.
Yeah, Kafka was wild.
So that's kind of Majora's Mask. It's running around trying to solve a problem that you can probably never solve. But whatever. And then like it's the best because it's one of the only Zelda games where no one gives Link the idea that he's the chosen hero. He's the actual chosen hero in this one because some dick steals his horse. Like,
yeah, that is actually kind of weird. But then again, Majora's Mask definitely has like I don't know if it's like super popular, but I definitely know that it stands out in terms of the other.
oh, it's got a massive.
The
cult
other
following.
like the other Zelda games are really not like Majora's Mask.
Yeah, it's the game that like hardcore Zelda fans quote when people call Zelda like a kiddie game or too easy or boring or whatever. They're like, haha, Majora's Mask.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it's my turn.
Yes.
Round 2. Fight!
tell me about your game.
So, Callum, I played the. So
Yes.
I was about to put the emphasis on the wrong word. So I played this game. It's best describe. I would best describe this as an attempt to make a buddy cop action adventure, right? It's a buddy cop action adventure with characters that are well known in a series that is, I would argue, relatively known, but not super well known. I mean, it made it onto the Stadia, so that's like, at least something, and also the Switch. The characters that you play as, it's a co-op game, but I played it by myself because I don't have other people to play with. And you also need a copy of the game, so that makes it difficult. And it's a story about two buddy cops who are also brothers, who are trying to get through life and just make their way through this harsh place that we call the world. And it involves a lot of violence and a lot of weird glowy orb things. The two brothers play very differently to one another, and that's why it's a co-op game, because you're supposed to have one guy do one thing and the other player do the other thing, but I just have to keep switching back and forth between the characters, which is kind of annoying. And it's very stylized, so another big thing about this game is that it is a huge departure from the gameplay style. So it's part of a series of games, but it is very different to all of the other games in the series. And for that reason, it is kind of a mixed bag in terms of the reception by the audience. Some people talked about it as like, oh, this is a pretty interesting idea. But other people are like, this is dumb, give us the other game, it's boring. I actually really liked it. I thought there were a lot of interesting ideas. It definitely made me feel different about the other games in the series that I had played. And I will say this, it is very similar. It has a lot of similarities to another game that is made by Blizzard. But this game is not made by Blizzard.
Another game
when this game was launched, it had a lot of comparisons to a popular game that was made by Blizzard. But it's not that game, and it's also the gameplay style is slightly different, and also the company that made this is not Blizzard.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good description.
All right, so can I get to my questions?
Yes, you may.
First of all, what is the Blizzard game that you said is very similar to this?
Diablo.
Okay. What genre would you call this game?
I guess it's kind of a mix, because there are like puzzle elements to it. There are a lot of puzzle elements, actually. Like a solid tenth of my time is just solving puzzles, like platforming puzzles, ability puzzles, jumping puzzles. But it's mostly a hack and slash RPG, I guess.
Okay. What's the setting like?
Well, I guess the characters would say that this is kind of like a very fantasy setting. But to me, it has a lot of science fantasy vibes, where there's high technology and like lasers and things like that. But everyone's just like, oh, they're casting magical spells, kind of thing. Also, it is very specifically themed around religion. I will say this. Yeah.
Okay.
It is very specific. Okay. It is themed about religion.
Is this game old, or is it very current?
What do you mean by old?
Well, when did it come out?
2008. Oh, no, it came out in 2019. Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably not the ultimate.
Callum, if you hit me with if I ever hit you with I've played an Ultima game, that's a whole conversation. You've got to stage an intervention.
Yeah, I'm repossessing your brain. Okay, I'm on my last question.
Yes.
Shit. Buddy cop. Okay,
I
wait.
will say that they will stop the game to have like wisecracking between the two main characters, and that's like really strange, but I kind of like it because they do a whole comic book style.
Okay, can you describe the two main characters to me aesthetically?
Okay, one guy is big and beefy. He kind of looks like a World of Warcraft character.
Okay.
Like a lot a World of Warcraft character. He is actually supposed to be the main character of like most of. He was the main character of the first game, and he's big and beefy, and yeah, he's pretty strong. He fights in close up with like a bunch of melee weapons, and the other guy is like tall and skinny. So the first guy is like short and like buff, and the other guy is like tall and skinny. They kind of have a whole Mario and Luigi thing going on a little bit. And the other guy fights at range, so he mostly uses ranged attacks and like quick attacks, and I like him more because I think he's a cooler character personally. But he's definitely the weaker of the two characters. And he has a cloak, which I think he can use as a weapon, but not in this game.
Okay. I have no idea. I'm going to start making guesses
go ahead.
now. I know you said fantasy, but for some reason this sounds like Army of Two to me.
No, sadly not. That would have been a very good guess though, Army of Two, because it does sound a lot like Army of Two, but it is definitely a fantasy game.
It also this isn't my guess. I'm just like wording out my thought process if you don't mind.
Sure.
It sounds like Trine, but Trine has 3 characters.
Ooh, yes.
It sounds like Torchlight, but you don't play Torchlight co-op.
You can't. Oh, technically, Torchlight 2, you could, I think, but it's not Torchlight 2. But that is very close.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the vibes, that's actually pretty relatively close, I would say. But no, sadly not.
I'm getting like also Pillars of Eternity vibe.
Nope.
And
Was your third guess Pillars of Eternity?
no, I haven't used my second guess
okay.
yet. I'm just sounding out my thoughts.
Oh, well, then I should be quiet because I'm confirming things for you.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? I'll count Torchlight as my second guess. So I've got one.
Well, I will give you a. Well, if you get the franchise right, I will give you another guess. To extend the same kindness that you showed me.
Yeah.
Because it is a franchise game, but like the franchise is not a very strongly held franchise. Like the games don't necessarily, they kind of bounce around a little bit.
What? Shit.
I
I
don't have any
questions.
questions.
Damn it. I'm gonna assume it's a PC game because you're not. A big
Well,
console
I think
person.
it was originally it was a console. It was available on PlayStation and Xbox and PC.
Haha, you've fallen into my trick.
Okay.
You didn't have to answer that question.
Oh,
but I
you've
knew
got me.
Naturally,
you got me. You pulled a brain trick.
Jedi mind boogie. Shit. Okay. This is gonna kill me because I feel like I know it. Problem is, all the games I'm thinking about who have like buddy cop sort of characters are pretty old.
Yeah.
You know, like early 2000s-y kind of era.
That's true. I mean, the buddy cop
And-
really has faded from, popular consensus.
Yeah, there was one came out recently. It's called like Max and something. It's about a rabbit.
Oh, you're talking about Sam and Max.
And Sam and Max.
No.
Is that it?
That's your guess.
Yep.
It's
That's it. I'm done.
Darksiders Genesis.
I hate you.
It is 100% legitimately an attempt to make a buddy cop game out of a franchise which was just about like big stabby men. So Darksiders Genesis has you play as either War or Strife, who are two brothers who are sent by the council the Charred Council to go deal with something in hell, and the entire game is just you and your brother like battling demons, wisecracking with each other, and finding out that Lucifer is playing you for a chump. And it's a
I actually... Can I just say how stupid it is that with the four horsemen of the apocalypse in the Darksiders series, it's war, death, fury, and strife. Because fury is clearly not covered under war, so we needed a whole other person
You know
for
how
that.
War lost his hand? Like, famously, War doesn't have a right arm or a left arm. He has one arm that's amputated and replaced with a prosthetic. It's because he was so angry they had to hold him down and cut off his hand. So it's really weird that Fury is...
Yeah, like, we've got anger, so
And her whole game is
No.
literally about fighting the 7 deadly sins. So I feel like they're really playing fast and loose with the whole, thing. And, like, Darksiders Genesis is like a hack and slash like Diablo, right? You play it top down. You have like abilities that are on cooldown and stuff like that. The only thing that is really different is that for the most part you can still just play it without leveling up, although leveling up does make it a lot easier. And you have like a lot of puzzle platforming. Like, I 100% completed the game, so I solved all the puzzles, and it was kind of really frustrating at times because you really need to have very precise control, and that's not easy in a top-down isometric world,
You know what? I'm not super sad I lost this one,
Yeah.
because I genuinely didn't know that Darksiders Genesis existed.
Very few people did. Very few people did. It didn't get. It didn't get all the praise in the world. Actually, the funny thing about Darksiders Genesis is that it is technically a prequel for the entire series.
Oh my god.
So
But I will
Yes.
say this. I remember reviews at the time would say that Darksiders 1 was very similar to Zelda.
Yeah, I can see that. Because
So, the point being that I picked a Zelda game, and you picked the Darksiders game that broke away from the Zelda format.
yes, because I'm weird, and I actually really like the format. I had a lot of fun playing it.
No, you are, yeah.
But
But it's right in your wheelhouse. It's like Crying Suns. It's slightly more strategic, but retains sort of like a free form. You can figure things out and do what you want.
I
kind of
also
deal.
really like. This is gonna sound weird, but I actually really like the setting. Because the game goes into, like, for example, there's one of the bosses who's trying to flood Eden, right? And you fight him in a pool. He's a kraken demon. He looks like Cthulhu, but he's like a demon. And you fight him in a pool, and he's like summoning tidal waves that you have to like blast through, and it's a lot of fun. Like, it is. There are some legitimately creative ideas. There's a boss battle that you do against. I think her name is Arachne or something like that. And she's like a sphinx.
Oh, is she a spider?
She's a sphinx.
That's dumb. Her name means spider.
No, wait. Her name is Astarte. There we go. That's her name, Astarte. And
Yeah.
she's a sphinx, and you fight her by riding. You and your co-op partner like battle her by riding your horses. You chase after her on the actual horses of the apocalypse. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it is a fun game, but it can be frustrating, and like I feel like it really benefited from. It would have really benefited by not having RPG mechanics. If they just had like a very fixed progression system where you got level ups as you went through the game, I think it would have been much more fun. Because there's like this weird system where you collect souls and essences, and you have to like use them to unlock like additional damage. So like you do 5% more damage, and it's really like
Oh, it's like the orbs from God of War, like the old. God of War.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this strange leveling system where, on the one hand, if you just play well, you can get through the game. But on the other hand, if you don't put any points into your leveling up, it'll be very frustrating, and the enemies will just be bullet sponges. Because if you keep parity with the leveling, then the game, I think, plays in the way that it should. But if you don't really need to do the leveling, then I really think the game would have honestly benefited from not having that at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, Man, I want to talk to you about games right now, but I can't because we might have to use them for the show later.
Well, see, this is why we definitely have our podcast, because we definitely love talking about games, and
Yeah.
if we didn't do this would just be us talking about games. But now we get to share it with the world.
Yay! You all have to listen to us. But on that note, thank you for listening
Yes,
to
thank
us.
you so much.
This
Oh
has
wait, no,
been,
Callum, aren't you forgetting? We have to do the viewer at home game.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
getting there. No, but hear me
Yes.
out. This has been So I Played This Game this week, and I'm happy to announce that our winner is Emilio!
I get another point because I didn't get the game, but I got very close.
Yeah, he got the closest. He got within the franchise, it's fine. And that was within the legal guesses, like, that was within his 3. It's totally above board, no cheating or anything. Wink, wink, wink. I'm not being held hostage. But yeah, so Emilio, you've won this game before, and you've won it again. So now you get to once more pick the game for the audience viewers.
Okay, so remember when I brought up Super Mario?
No.
Well, I mentioned how like Strife and War have a whole Super Mario Luigi thing going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
right? So the game that I'm thinking about that I've played, viewers at home, definitely has a guy who is Mario and definitely says the line, "It's a me, Mario." And it definitely is about being an Italian man dealing with sewerage.
I absolutely know what game you're talking about.
But it's for
I
the
think, I
viewers
hope.
at home. It's part of a long-running
Yeah.
franchise, but not necessarily every game is a sequel to every other game. And it's definitely not a fun game. I had a lot of it's very frustrating, with the platforming and the falling off, and the enemies just killing you. So yeah, let's see if you guys can get that one. Yeah.
I really hope I'm thinking of a different game, because if I'm thinking of the game you're talking of, and it's the game I'm thinking of, that was a confusing sentence, but if it is, then I'm going to be very mad at you, because it's like my favorite game of all time.
Oh, okay. Well,
We'll discuss after this.
We'll let the viewers at home.
But if you know what the answer is to Emilio's riddle, feel free to post your comment. Share this video if you'd like. Give it a like. Ring that bell. Do a dance. It's all helping us to get this content out there more so that we can keep making it. If you really want to support the channel, then feel free to check out our Patreon and our buy us a coffee link if you're not keen on being trapped in a monthly payment of merely $1. That's fine. You can just buy us a coffee. Feel free to check out some of the associated channels with us, and all of the links to what I just said are in our description. You can find our socials there too. And here's the thing, keep an eye out this month, because we have something special planned that I think you guys are going to find very
Yes, something that has taken quite a while to get developed, but we're very, very proud of the work that we've put into it. So we hope that you'll join us in checking that thing out, whatever it is. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Well, I have been Callum,
And I've been Emilio.
and this has been So I Played This Game Recently. Thanks for watching, and happy
Bye
holidays.
bye.